In a rapidly changing political landscape, President Donald Trump's administration has embarked on an aggressive trade strategy that echoes the tumultuous economic policies of his earlier tenure. Just weeks into his second term, Trump has already implemented more trade measures than during his entire first 4 years in office, signaling a significant shift in U.S. economic policy. At the forefront of this initiative is Peter Navarro, Trump's trade advisor, whose vision for tariffs as a means to restore American prosperity has drawn both fervent support and fierce criticism. Anna Swanson, a seasoned journalist at the New York Times specializing in trade and international economics, recently provided insight into Navarro's motivations and the broader implications of Trump's trade war. Navarro believes that tariffs will not only protect American jobs but will also lead to a renaissance in American manufacturing. Swanson explained during a recent episode of The Daily. This perspective, while popular with some segments of the American populace, raises concerns about the potential for increased tensions with key trading partners and a broader upheaval of the global economic order. Simultaneously, Trump's administration has taken a controversial stance towards Europe, particularly in its relationship with Russia. Recent diplomatic overtures have left European allies feeling sidelined and uncertain about America's commitment to transatlantic unity. As Anton Troyanovsky, the Times Moscow bureau chief, noted, this shift in U.S. foreign policy not only affects alliances but also emboldens Russia's position on the world stage. Such developments have sparked fears of a resurgent Russian influence in Eastern Europe, further complicating an already fraught geopolitical climate. Amidst these international tensions, another narrative has emerged closer to home: the struggle of independent movie theaters across the United States. In a bid to survive in a landscape increasingly dominated by streaming services, some communities have turned to a nonprofit model. The Triplex Theater in Great Barrington, Massachusetts, serves as a case study in this trend. After a grassroots campaign to save the beloved local cinema, residents transformed it into a nonprofit organization focusing on community-driven programming rather than box office hits. As noted by Jim Zaroli in the New York Times, this community initiative reflects a broader movement where towns rally to preserve cultural institutions. The Triplex is not just a theater, it's a community hub, said Nikki Wilson, president of the theater's board. This sentiment echoes a larger trend in which communities are increasingly taking ownership of local arts and culture, creating spaces that prioritize diverse programming and accessibility over profit margins. Meanwhile, East Timor, Asia's newest nation, continues to navigate the complex challenges of independence nearly 2 decades after breaking away from Indonesian rule. President José Ramos-Horta, a key figure in the country's struggle for sovereignty, now faces the daunting task of steering East Timor towards economic stability. Despite recent successes in strengthening its democratic institutions, the nation remains heavily reliant on dwindling oil and gas revenues, leaving a significant portion of its population in poverty. As Swaley reported for the New York Times, Ramos-Horta's administration is under pressure to diversify the economy and address issues like child malnutrition and infrastructure deficits. We should have resolved child poverty, child malnutrition, mother malnutrition, and extreme poverty in 22 years. So that has been a failure, Ramos-Horta candidly acknowledged. The road ahead is fraught with challenges. But East Timor's journey illustrates the complexities inherent in nation building and economic development. Looking forward, the interplay of trade wars, shifting foreign alliances, and local cultural revitalization will continue to shape the global landscape. As leaders navigate these challenges, the impacts on both domestic and international fronts will be closely monitored, setting the stage for an evolving narrative in 2025 and beyond. The resilience of communities, the adaptability of trade policies, and the striving for democracy in developing nations will undoubtedly remain at the forefront of global discourse. In a striking intersection of technology and social dynamics, several recent developments have raised eyebrows across various sectors. From the ongoing discussions surrounding social media influences on relationships to the implications of cryptocurrency in governmental frameworks, the narratives unfolding are both complex and revealing. One particularly interesting case involves the resignation of a top Social Security official following a clash with Elon Musk's cryptocurrency initiative Doge. The official's departure highlights the growing tensions between established government structures and the disruptive force of cryptocurrency. As the digital currency landscape evolves, regulatory bodies are grappling with how to adapt to innovations that challenge traditional financial systems. In a statement, the departing official remarked, "The intersection between cryptocurrency and public policy is increasingly fraught with challenges that demand our immediate attention." This sentiment underscores the urgency for clearer guidelines as digital currencies gain traction. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, European nations are actively exploring the possibility of deploying troops to facilitate a ceasefire in Ukraine. This strategic move is not only a reflection of the ongoing humanitarian crisis but also an appeal for American support in stabilizing the region. European leaders are advocating for a collaborative approach, emphasizing that a united front is essential for any meaningful resolution. "We cannot tackle this crisis alone. We need the United States as a partner in this endeavor," one European diplomat stated. The request for U.S. involvement signals a shift in transatlantic relations as Europe seeks to bolster its security initiatives while navigating complex geopolitical landscapes. In a more personal realm, relationship dynamics are under scrutiny, particularly concerning the expectations surrounding engagements and marriages. A recent column by Carolyn Hacks touches on the frustrations of individuals navigating discussions about marriage without the accompanying commitment of an engagement ring. The piece reveals deeper societal pressures and individual anxieties surrounding relationships, emphasizing the need for clear communication and mutual understanding. When talks of marriage linger without action, it can lead to feelings of uncertainty and frustration, Hacks writes, capturing the essence of many who find themselves in similar predicaments. The interconnectedness of these stories highlights a broader theme of uncertainty and transformation in society. As technology continues to influence personal relationships, financial systems, and international diplomacy, the effects are profound and far-reaching. Looking to the future, it appears that these dynamics will only become more intricate. Regulatory frameworks will need to evolve to accommodate the rapid advancements in technology, while global cooperation will be essential in addressing humanitarian crises and security challenges. As these narratives unfold, the interplay between innovation and tradition will undoubtedly shape the fabric of our society in the years to come. On February 18, 2025, the stock market was buzzing with activity, particularly in the technology and energy sectors. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq indices witnessed notable gains, reflecting investor optimism amidst ongoing developments in major tech companies. This uptick came as Intel stock rallied following reports that industry giants TSMC and Broadcom were contemplating strategic acquisitions, potentially reshaping the semiconductor landscape. Intel, once a stalwart of the semiconductor industry, has faced increasing competition and market pressures in recent years. However, as investor sentiment shifted positively, its shares surged, suggesting renewed confidence in the company's direction. Analysts noted that the potential deals involving TSMC and Broadcom could pave the way for collaborative advancements in technology that might benefit Intel's position. The semiconductor industry is at a pivotal moment, and any strategic partnership could significantly enhance competitive advantages, one market analyst commented. In the energy sector, Diamondback Energy announced its intent to acquire Double Eagle Energy, a move that underscores the ongoing consolidation within the oil and gas industry. The acquisition is expected to bolster Diamondback's production capabilities and expand its footprint in the lucrative Permian Basin. Industry experts believe that this merger will not only enhance operational efficiencies but also provide both firms with the leverage needed to navigate the volatile energy market. In an era where energy demand continues to fluctuate, consolidations like this can create stronger entities capable of weathering economic storms, said an energy market analyst. Meanwhile, at the Wall Street of eggs, demand for eggs is surging, a trend that reflects broader consumer behavior shifts. The rise in egg prices has caused a stir in the market, with suppliers scrambling to meet increasing consumer demand. This phenomenon, driven partly by supply chain disruptions and heightened interest in protein-rich diets, illustrates how varied market forces can impact different sectors significantly. With consumers becoming more health-conscious, the demand for eggs has skyrocketed, reported one leading supplier, emphasizing a shift in purchasing patterns that could have lasting implications for agricultural markets. As these developments unfold, the impact on the broader economy remains to be seen. The interplay of mergers, acquisitions, and shifting consumer demands indicates a dynamic market landscape that will likely continue to evolve. Investors are keeping a close watch on how these trends will shape the tech and energy sectors as well as the agricultural markets. With ongoing innovations and strategic partnerships on the horizon, the future promises to be as intriguing as the present, offering ripe opportunities for both growth and investment in various sectors. Recent talks between the United States and Russia regarding the war in Ukraine have ignited concerns across Europe about a potential resolution that could favor Moscow. As U.S. President Donald Trump initiates discussions aimed at ending the conflict, European leaders find themselves in a precarious position. Fearing that their interests may be sidelined in favor of an agreement that aligns with Russian President Vladimir Putin's demands. This situation reflects a broader trend in which European nations feel increasingly marginalized in matters of security and defense, particularly in the context of a shifting geopolitical landscape. Armin Papperger, the CEO of German defense contractor Rheinmetall, voiced these sentiments at the Munich Security Conference, asserting that Europe's long-standing underinvestment in defense has left it at the metaphorical kids' table in discussions surrounding Ukraine. "If you don't invest, if you're not strong, they handle you like kids," he stated. Emphasizing that decades of complacency, spending merely 1% of GDP on defense, have led to a reliance on U.S. leadership in security matters. Papperger's critique highlights a growing realization among European powers that they must bolster their military capabilities to regain a seat at the negotiating table. Between 2021 and 2024, European defense spending increased significantly, rising over 30% to an estimated €326 billion, or roughly 1.9% of the EU's GDP. Despite this uptick, Papperger pointed out that the current conflict has drained European stockpiles of arms, leaving nations ill-prepared for any potential escalation. He warned that even if peace talks yield a ceasefire, the demand for arms is unlikely to diminish, as European nations will need to replenish their depleted reserves. Trump's sudden move to engage Putin directly has exacerbated these fears, particularly as it came without consultation with European allies or the Ukrainian government. The implications of this approach are profound. European leaders are grappling with how to maintain their security in light of potential U.S. withdrawal from its role as a guarantor of European stability. Papperger indicated that the need for increased military spending would persist irrespective of the outcome of Trump's negotiations, as Europe must confront the enduring threat of Russian aggression. Meanwhile, the economic ramifications of the ongoing conflict are also coming into sharper focus. The prospect of exploiting Ukraine's vast mineral resources has emerged as a contentious issue, particularly in light of Trump's proposal to leverage these assets as repayment for U.S. military aid. Ukraine is believed to possess significant reserves of critical minerals, including lithium and cobalt, essential for various industries from defense to electric vehicles. However, the lack of modern exploration and the ongoing instability hinder the development of these resources. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has reportedly rejected Trump's terms, insisting that any agreements concerning mineral rights must be tied to future security assurances from the U.S. This position highlights the delicate balance Ukraine must navigate between securing much-needed military support and protecting its sovereignty against what some perceive as predatory agreements. As European leaders face the dual challenges of a potential shift in U.S. foreign policy and the ramifications of a protracted conflict, the path forward remains uncertain. The ongoing talks between the U.S. and Russia, coupled with the push for increased European defense spending, signal a critical juncture in the region's geopolitical landscape. The outcome of these discussions will not only shape the future of Ukraine but could also redefine the security architecture of Europe itself. In conclusion, as the geopolitical dynamics continue to evolve, the interplay between U.S.-Russia relations, European defense initiatives, and the strategic exploitation of Ukraine's resources will be pivotal in determining the region's stability. Stakeholders on all sides will need to navigate this complex landscape with caution, as the stakes are high and the consequences of miscalculation could be dire. In a notable turn of events, recent diplomatic discussions between the United States and Russia indicate a renewed commitment to pursuing peace talks regarding the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. As tensions remain high, both nations have expressed a mutual desire to engage in formal negotiations aimed at establishing a framework for peace. This development comes amidst a backdrop of shifting political dynamics within the U.S. as well as growing consumer activism against corporations perceived to be aligning with controversial political stances. During high-level talks held in Riyadh, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov outlined a roadmap for re-establishing diplomatic relations. The two sides agreed to appoint ambassadors promptly to facilitate ongoing dialogue and to initiate consultations concerning a peace deal for Ukraine. According to U.S. officials, the priority of these discussions will be to secure a permanent cessation of hostilities, although specifics regarding contentious issues like Crimea remain unresolved. Rubio emphasized the importance of inclusivity in these negotiations, stating, "Everyone involved in that conflict has to be okay with it. It has to be acceptable to them." This sentiment underscores the complexity of the peace talks, particularly as both the European Union and Ukraine are anticipated to play roles in the discussions, albeit without guaranteed representation at the negotiating table. The U.S. has also reiterated that any post-war security guarantees should be led by European nations, reflecting a broader call for increased European defense spending. However, the prospect of involving European peacekeeping forces remains contentious. Lavrov categorically dismissed the idea, labeling it completely unacceptable and asserting that NATO's eastward expansion poses a direct threat to Russia's national security. This stance reflects the deep-rooted mistrust that continues to complicate any potential agreements. On a parallel front, American consumers are increasingly wielding their economic power in response to the political landscape, particularly as Donald Trump's administration shifts policies that impact diversity and inclusion initiatives. A recent Harris poll revealed that approximately 40% of Americans have altered their shopping habits in light of corporate political alignments, with a quarter of respondents stating they have stopped patronizing their favorite stores due to political reasons. This trend is particularly pronounced among younger and more diverse consumer groups, highlighting a growing willingness to make purchasing decisions based on moral values. The backlash against companies like Target, which recently scaled back its diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) initiatives, illustrates this shift. Target faced significant criticism and calls for a boycott after its decision to withdraw support from programs that uplift minority-owned brands. As consumer activism intensifies, it seems clear that the political tides are influencing purchasing behavior more than ever. The intersection of U.S. foreign policy and domestic consumer sentiment suggests that the coming months will be pivotal for both international relations and the American marketplace. As peace talks progress, the reactions of the public and corporations alike will likely shape the broader narrative surrounding these developments. Observers are keen to see how the U.S. will navigate these complex waters and whether it can foster a durable peace in Ukraine without alienating key stakeholders at home and abroad. In conclusion, the unfolding scenarios in both diplomatic and consumer spheres reflect a deeply interconnected landscape where political decisions resonate far beyond the halls of power. Whether the U.S. can successfully mediate a peace agreement while addressing the growing demands of an active consumer base remains to be seen, but the implications are sure to be significant for the future of American society and its global standing. In the heart of Arcadia, Moffat's family restaurant and chicken pie shop stands as a nostalgic testament to culinary tradition, celebrating its 50th anniversary this year. Since opening its doors in 1975, The restaurant has remained a cherished local staple, drawing diners with its beloved chicken pot pie, a recipe that has remained unchanged for decades. Each day, the dedicated kitchen staff produces around 300 savory pies, offering a menu that includes chicken tri-tip and turkey options, all crafted with care and a commitment to quality. The story of Moffats is deeply intertwined with that of Juan Valerio Garcia, who began his journey at the restaurant as a dishwasher in 1980. The 17-year-old immigrant from Zacatecas, Mexico, sought a stable job and found his place in the Moffat family legacy. Over the years, Garcia ascended through the ranks, becoming a baker and cook, ultimately taking ownership of the restaurant alongside his family in 2023. He's never called in sick or missed a day of work, shared his daughter Sandra Gomez. Reflecting on her father's incredible work ethic and dedication to preserving the family's culinary heritage. Moffats has a vintage charm that transports diners back to a time when meals were accompanied by soup or salad, warm bread, and dessert. The decor features wood paneling, whimsical chicken-themed accents, and seasonal decorations that evoke a sense of comfort and familiarity. The menu showcases hearty home-cooked meals reminiscent of grandmother's kitchen, making it a haven for those seeking nostalgic comfort food. As the restaurant approaches its milestone anniversary, the Gomez family is committed to honoring the legacy of the Moffats while incorporating subtle modern touches. Though they aim to maintain the old-school diner aesthetic that patrons cherish, they have recognized the need to adapt to contemporary dining trends. This includes establishing a presence on social media and offering delivery options. A significant step for a restaurant rooted in tradition. "We didn't want to change too much," Sandra explained. "It's like going to grandma's house, that kind of aesthetic." The family has also introduced new menu items to appeal to a broader audience, including a choice between dark and white meat for chicken pot pies, a kids menu, and breakfast offerings, which were added in response to customer demand. This dedication to evolving while preserving the essence of Moffats is emblematic of the restaurant's commitment to its community. In a time when dining establishments face increasing challenges from rising costs and changing consumer habits, the Gomez family has worked diligently to keep prices stable for their loyal customers. "We're always calling places to compare prices, making adjustments when an item goes up so that we don't have to raise prices," Sandra noted, highlighting their dedication to affordability without compromising quality. For many, Moffats remains more than just a restaurant. It is a refuge that offers comfort amid life's uncertainties. Personal anecdotes shared by patrons reveal how the restaurant has served as a source of solace during difficult times. The Garcia family hopes to continue this tradition, providing a space where families can gather and create memories over delicious meals for generations to come. "For my dad, as long as he sees that his grandkids can learn and value this, then all the sacrifices and hard work were all worth it," Sandra reflected. As Moffat's family restaurant and chicken pie shop celebrates this significant anniversary, it stands as a beacon of culinary nostalgia and familial love. The restaurant's future looks bright. With plans to embrace modernity while holding steadfast to the cherished traditions that have defined its rich history. In a rapidly changing world, Moffat's represents a comforting reminder of the enduring power of good food and family ties.